Hi, everyone. I'm Sylvain Mebar, Communication Manager at World Business Council for Sustainable Development within the Food and Nature program. This video will give you a high-level overview of our program's areas and projects. It will help you understand where you should engage to get the most value according to your business priorities and challenges. To guide you through our Food and Nature portfolio, I'm pleased to introduce my colleagues, Ruth Thomas, Emmeline Fellis, Clea Casquet-Cook, Tony Ciantonas, and Tom Williams. I will start with you, Ruth. Could you tell us about the Global Agribusiness Action on Equitable Livelihoods project?
Thank you, Sylvain. So the goal of this project is to strengthen rural livelihoods and build equitable value distribution. It supports the implementation of our CEO Guide to Food Systems Transformation and weaves together key achievements made under the Global Agribusiness Alliance over the last 4 years, as well as good progress across other priority work streams that intersect with the resilience agenda. The project focuses on addressing supply side priorities, working with full WBCSD and project-only members from across the value chain. We're really delighted that Mr. Nadir Godrej is our chair for 2021. So that's a quick mention of the what. Now to the why. Addressing inequality must be at the heart of building a sustainable food system and is critical to meeting the global goals of no poverty and zero hunger. The impacts of COVID-19 have indirectly been socially and economically devastating and seriously exacerbated these inequalities. The scale of the challenge is urgent and growing. The World Food Programme, for example, estimate that the pandemic will add over 100 million people to the total number of those undernourished. And the World Bank estimates that a further 100 million people will be living in extreme poverty. So how is this project going to make a difference? The sector has a really critical role to play in promoting long-term rural community resilience and providing training, technology and finance. Well-managed and productive farms will increase yields, safeguard natural resources and generate sustainable livelihoods. They're also, of course, key to providing a stable and transparent supply base. So we have 3 priority action areas, each informed by internal and external consultation, research and member priorities. In brief, the first is improving access to markets through, for example, our work incubating the investment partnerships of the Just Rural Transition, as well as our work on agri-SME business development and the digital finance tool. The second is on respecting and promoting human rights through our new toolkit on strengthening performance and policy, our Train the Trainer implementation support, which is currently in development, and also our series of published interviews on key topics to enable us to really more credibly and collectively champion the social agenda. Our third action area is on promoting inclusive innovation and technology in collaboration with the Scaling Positive Agriculture project, which I think we're going to hear from next. Thanks.
Thanks, Ruth. I will now hand over to Tony. Tony, could you give us a little bit more details about your project, Scaling Positive Agriculture?
Sure, Sylvain, thank you. Hi, everyone, pleased to meet you. We're going to talk a bit about the Scaling Positive Agriculture project. This is an ambitious project about maximising the potential of agriculture, which is this huge positive solution for our climate, nature and people. This is about helping member companies deliver solutions for a climate, nature and farmer positive food system. What does that really mean? Well, agriculture is currently about a quarter of emissions of GHGs globally, but we can actually shift it from being a net source to a net sink of emissions. It's also one of the biggest drivers of nature loss. And we know that there's a role that we can have in using agriculture to actually regenerate the natural environment. And we know that agriculture, of course, must work to strengthen resilient, productive and prosperous farming communities. And that's why we work closely with the Equitable Livelihoods project that delivers on those priorities. What we do in SPA is deliver transformative agricultural solutions with our members at the global and the regional level. So some examples include our work stream on agriculture for 1.5, which supports agriculture and food businesses to transition towards net zero nature positive production, which is our work stream focusing on biodiversity target setting and soil health solutions for members, as well as 2 regional commodity work streams we have. And these are driving sustainable soy in Brazil through the Soft Commodities Forum and sustainable rice landscapes in Asia. So happy to present more to you as members, and that's it from me. Back to Sylvain.
Thanks a lot, Tony. I now turn to Emmeline. Emmeline, tell us more, what is the FRESH project?
Thank you, Sylvain. So the FRESH project stands for Food Reform for Sustainability and Health. And our vision is to help deliver healthy and sustainable diets to all, produced sustainably within planetary boundaries by 2050. That's not a small endeavor, because we know that we're expecting about 10 billion people by that time. And the way we are actually producing and eating food today is far from being sustainable or healthy. So there is quite some work to be done, but we have really exciting work streams that are involving over 30 companies and many more stakeholders actually. So the first work stream is called Positive Nutrition. It's about how can we innovate and reformulate food to make it more sustainable and more healthy. The second axis of work is positive consumption. It's good if we can produce food that is more healthy and more sustainable, but it's another problem if people don't eat it. So really, how do we nudge people towards that kind of food? How do we make sure that that kind of food is affordable, available, accessible, enjoyable? The last but not least work stream is called the true value of food. It is about finding ways for the food that we are consuming to actually reflect the real value, what it's really making to the environment, what it's really making to your health, how it's contributing to society, both in terms of the positive contributions and the negative contributions, so that in the long term, the food that is produced in a more sustainable way and that is more healthy will cost less, and vice versa. I would say that the USP, so the unique selling proposition of FRESH, is twofold. It's that we do first a real systemic approach. We work on system transformation. We combine health and sustainability. And finally, work across the whole value chain from production to consumption and the other way around. And the second piece is that we really help the companies in identifying and implementing practical solutions. We do that in a very agile, responsive, and ambitious manner, always on top of new issues and opportunities. We work hand in hand with key stakeholders, to name a few: the WWF, GAIN, the EAT Foundation, and others. And we involve many more, because this is, as I said, a very long endeavor. I would say that finally, as final words, this is very complementary to what has been already presented by Ruth on equitable livelihoods, and what has been presented by Tony on agricultural production. Thank you.
Thanks, Emmeline. Let's move on to you, Tom. Could you please share some insights about the Nature and Water project with us?
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks, Sylvain. I'll start with nature, as Nature Action is one of our newest projects, although WBCSD has been working on nature issues, including water, for several years. What we see is business is increasingly compelled to have a positive impact on nature, just as we've seen consensus and mobilization around the climate emergency. We are gradually seeing the same in response to nature loss. And we see this reflected in one of the 5 new membership criteria approved last year that will require all WBCSD members to have an ambitious and science-based environmental goal to contribute to nature recovery by 2050. So in our Nature Action project, we are preparing business for their nature positive journeys, and our initial focus is around the 3 key socio-economic systems. So 1, food, land, and ocean use; 2, infrastructure and the built environment; and 3, extractives and energy. This is aligned with the World Economic Forum's analysis that attributes major biodiversity threats where business can take action to these 3 socio-economic systems. To chart the course of these journeys, we will be developing nature-positive roadmaps for critical sectors and value chains within these systems. These roadmaps will outline the steps business must take from understanding their impacts and dependencies on nature through to target setting and identifying the most relevant solutions. These roadmaps will form the basis of how we will engage with our members in the coming years to meet that nature recovery membership criteria that I mentioned earlier. We're also helping our members navigate the rapidly evolving landscape of target setting and disclosure through our engagement in the Science-Based Targets Network, which is developing the SBTs for nature, and also within the Task Force on Nature-Related Financial Disclosure. And last but not least, we are working across our programs and projects to reinforce the interdependencies of actions on nature and climate. We do this through collaborating on key solution spaces such as soil carbon sequestration and aligning on natural climate solutions more generally to ensure that they are delivering value to society and benefit nature. For our water project, this is a great example of where business is already taking action on nature. And we have 3 focus areas. Firstly, water circularity metrics in collaboration with our circular economy program. This is aiming to help business set ambitious water circularity targets and measure their progress. Secondly, we focus on water quality and particularly on point source pollution and encouraging business to take the wastewater zero commitment to ensure that they release zero hazardous substances into the environment and increase water reuse and recycling. And thirdly, we focus on valuing water in the food system. This is linked to the true value of food work that you heard about earlier. And in this, we are developing a water impact protocol, which will provide internal decision-making support for food companies as they navigate actions on those aspects of their operations that are causing the largest water-related impacts. Do also look out for some new developments with the India water tool coming up later in the year, which will incorporate a new crop module. So as business can access geographical data on water and also the top 10 crops in India, including rice, wheat, and sugar, for example. The aim of this is to inform business decision-making and ensure the right drop for the right crop. So back to you, Sylvain.
Thanks, Tom. So I'm now pleased to address our final questions to Clea. Clea, you lead the policy and advocacy field for the Food and Nature program. Tell us more about your work in this area.
Thank you, Sylvain, and thank you for bringing us all together here. So companies are becoming increasingly aware that we cannot tackle the world's paramount challenges alone or even within singular stakeholder groups. We need to work together and approach challenges in a systemic and holistic way. The pandemic that we're living through right now has even exposed this further. Within policy and advocacy in food and nature, we work collectively with all our members to drive joint advocacy efforts that showcase the ambitious and progressive business voice on key issues affecting the food and nature space and the role of policymakers in supporting and enabling businesses' ambitious plans. We help drive joint business engagement and leadership towards key global and regional policy events. For example, and you'll hear about this more, range on the UN Food System Summit to the Convention on Biological Diversity. And we identify opportunities for business to showcase individual and collective accomplishments. We work closely with our partners from civil society and academia to learn from each other, drive collective policy asks, and share business insight, case studies, and examples. Ultimately, we elevate the work that we do in our projects in food, agriculture, and nature within the applicable global and regional policy fora and with key stakeholders, and ensure that we have concrete action and examples to showcase specific solutions that business is bringing forward. Members can get engaged in multiple ways. Join regular policy and advocacy calls, contribute to science and policy dialogues, which are intensive multi-day virtual meetings that are invite only, represent their companies and collective business voice through key speaking and leadership opportunities, and many others. We are looking forward to working together with you on addressing some of the key challenges and opportunities affecting our global food and nature systems. Thank you.
Thanks, Clea. We hope that this video has been helpful to better understand what we do and how we can best support your challenges in the fields of food, agriculture, nature, and water. Our team is at your disposal if you want to know more about our work or how to join our projects. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to hearing from you.